Here's a small segment from the Pre-Patch Podcast. Enjoy.
Ratchet and Clank. What is it? What is it called? Ratchet and Clank.
Rift Apart.
Rift Apart.
Rifts
Rift
Apart,
Apart.
yeah.
Yeah. Rifts Apart. So this came out, and the reason that we're really covering it is specifically because of this issue. So Bill, I know you're the one that kind of discovered this or showed it to us. So I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of go more in depth on what's here. So
Yeah, so when Rift Apart first came out, the thing with Sony and Insomniac were saying was that the whole reason they did not have a version of it on the PS4 was because the PS4 hardware could not handle the Rift system that the game was going to be implementing. The hard drive on the PS4 would not be able to seamlessly push you from one world to the other to give you that
a loading screen.
that seamless Rift experience. So people took that at face value, assumed that they were telling the truth. And then the PC port comes out, and on the minimum specs portion, it has like your hard drives, GPUs, and all that stuff. But at the bottom, it has HDD and not a solid state drive. So a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, it seems like Sony lied to us then, because if the game can run on minimum specs on a hard drive, then obviously they could have ran it on a PS4. They just didn't want to run it on the PS4 because they wanted to push PS5 sales. Coming to the port actually being given out to people to test and review and stuff. And Digital Foundries did a showcase showing that on minimum settings with a hard drive that is comparable to the PS4's hard drive, it is basically a 30 to 45 second stuttering mess anytime you go through a Rift.
It's essentially a loading screen.
It effectively acts as a loading screen.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, you can technically run the game, and within the worlds, the game runs fine on minimum specs, obviously not looking as good, but the experience is far from what the developers had intended.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was kind of funny that people were really trying to get a gotcha on Sony with this particular instance, thinking that they were being scumbags, which they could have very well been.
I mean, like, there's no reason you shouldn't at least assume that Sony is trying to some scummy shit. But in this case,
should never take companies at face value when it comes to this shit, especially when specs come out that are seemingly speaking the contrary. But
I mean, I think I look, like, as a person that has beat up on Sony time and time again, I actually am gonna give Sony props on this. I think actually the complete opposite. I think that Sony looked at this and goes, no, like, we're not, like, this is not to the standard that we want. And it's playable.
I think that's what we're saying too.
But I think that Sony, no, I'm not saying that you guys aren't. I'm saying that I think that they basically did what we wanted Cyberpunk to CD Projekt Red to go do and say, no, like, this is not going to run anywhere close to our standards, so we're not going to have it. And then them saying, Insomniac basically saying, we're going to put it out on PC. They have to do this because somebody somewhere is going to have a system that is going to try to play this. And, they seem to say, like, look, like, technically it'll play. It's a lot different than consoles. Consoles are a one and done. PCs there could be thousands of configurations. So,
and then they, if they could have given it to PlayStation 4 and Xbox, whatever previous one,
there would have been
but it would have been the same thing.
They would have been eaten alive though. Like, I think they would have been eaten alive. So
it would have just been a Cyberpunk.
What is this mess? And then people would review on it. The only now.
The only difference being that Sony wouldn't bring it off of their store like they did Cyberpunk. They just probably let it sit on the store.
True.
I mean, I am excited.
So Rift Apart's coming out on PC, and you're gonna play it, correct?
Oh yeah, no, I'm super excited.
This game is phenomenal. It is extremely well made. The best Ratchet and Clank we've got since Ratchet and Clank 3, in my opinion. So, I'm very excited to watch you play through this one. I think you'll have a great time with it.
Did you play the one before this, Bill?
I did. It was okay.
I gotta play that one through. Like, do you need to play that one through to play this one?
Not really.
No, maybe I don't.
Not really.
I don't know.
There's some lore bits that you'll miss, but they do a pretty decent job at, like,
maybe I'll
kind of
just
filling
watch a
you in
video.
through context. Yeah.
Who pays attention to lore?
Yeah,
I mean, so
if it's got a story in it, careful.
Okay, I knew it was coming. So I was actually going to say, so Ratchet and Clank has been one of the games that I have played since for a long time. It's actually one of that Jak and Daxter. I actually really enjoyed those games. And
you were a Sony boy once upon a time.
I've owned every system, mine except for the new consoles. So yes, I played Jak and Daxter. I played Sly Cooper. I played
Sly Cooper was my shit.
Ratchet and Clank, and
did you play
really,
Medieval?
I did, but I didn't play through it like all the way. Like I enjoyed it, but it was not anything. But anyway, Ratchet and Clank when this came out was one of my biggest downfall, like not downfall, but like heartfelt moments of not being able to play it because I love the Ratchet and Clank series. So now to be able to put it up, play on my PC, like I'm extreme and also on a Steam Deck. Like I've heard that it plays phenomenal on Steam Deck.
Yeah, so, it's already Steam Deck approved before launch.
So I'm super excited to play it. I will.
Hey, maybe you can play this on the Project Q too.
Thanks again for checking out the Patch Notes, part of the Pre-Patch Podcast, which we do live every Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Or you can check us out on anchor.fm/Pre-Patch Podcast or any place that podcasts are listened to. Thanks again. Much love.